Hey everyone, welcome to our series on wiring a low EMF home, so electric magnetic fields. I'm here with Kevin Fortney with Fortney Electric. Kevin, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
So Kevin worked closely with us on this home to do all the wiring in this house. And today we're going to be walking through the planning stage. This is our first part of the series, and it is really important. It's going to save you a lot of time and a lot of money. So we're going to get going, and we're going to show you step by step what you need to do during the planning stage for a low EMF home. Let's get started. All right, so if you're building a low EMF home, the most important part of it is the planning stage. So you're looking to save thousands of dollars. It's right here in the planning stage. So we want to go through some of the really important components of that. We're going to walk through, I got a list here, and we're going to start walking through them one by one and explaining to you, actually showing you what we're talking about. So the first thing on the list is deciding where your sub panel and also your main service panel go in the home. And we're going to talk to Kevin a little bit about that and get some recommendations from him on what he recommends as far as the locations that those go.
So yeah, when you're planning out your panel or your sub panel, you really want to keep it away from living spaces. The ideal spot would be where your utility comes in. If you can put it on a shop or just a remote meter base, that would be the best option. But if you don't have either of those two options, you can put it on the side of your house, in your garage, or just away from a living space.
Yeah, so the remote meter would be away from, like, not attached to anything. It's on a separate pole, sitting on, like, or you can put some fence posts on the ground, mount that thing on some strut, and get it completely off of a building, or put it on a shop where you don't frequent that area very often. And then if you have a house, and the reason we're doing this actually is because of the smart meter. So you're getting that smart meter's affecting a large part of your home. It could be up to 30 feet. So you want to stay away for at least keep it, if you're on a garage, like 30 feet away from all your living spaces minimum for that location. And then if you have to have it on the house, like you don't have a garage that's actually on the house, you got to get it as far away from living spaces as possible in order to make sure that we don't have an issue what's affecting you in your home.
And then yes, if you have a sub panel inside your home, you just really want it away from any living spaces, bedrooms, etc. It matters what kind of panel you have. The Siemens panel, the PN, is actually one of the better ones, and I can show you why. So this is a Siemens panel, PN, which stands for plug-on neutral. So your neutral bar is right here, and it's on both sides. You also have ground bars on both sides, which is attached to the panel itself. So the reason why we pick this panel is because that neutral, it keeps it close. It doesn't, which minimizes your magnetic field. And since this is inside the home, our whole goal is to minimize the magnetic field. Since we are looking at the panel, the reason why we chose MC cabling, it has this metal shielding, which is grounded by these connectors. So these connectors are connected to the panel, which it's actually called a bond. And it grounds this shielding, which shields you from the electric field, which is different than the magnetic field.
So the sub panel that Kevin's just talking about here with these, the amount of separation that we have between the hots and the neutrals when they're in the panel, or the bigger the separation, the bigger the magnetic field is. So the goal Kevin's talking about is that we have these bus bars on both sides that allows you to bring your neutrals and your hots in on the same side, and you want to land that hot and that neutral from the same circuit on that bus as close as you possibly can together to minimize the field. You definitely want this kind of a panel, and not to where, what would the other layout be, Kevin, on here if you didn't have the parallel?
A lot of times these neutral bars are shorter or only on one side. So the separation would be a lot greater for your neutral of one circuit all the way over here. That magnetic field would be just a lot larger than when you keep them close together.
So you're also going to get that down below right here where you have the separation between your hots. These are two hots coming in, there's your neutral. This is going to create a field too because you have separation. You still got to go around your pan on different sides here, and they're splitting. So that creates a field in itself. So this thing has to be located away from living areas. Like this one here is in a utility closet. This house was going to have a basement where this is going to go and be completely away. There's no garage on this house. And this is only a sub panel because this house is actually, we had a panel, the main meter base is sitting on a shop outside with about a 160-foot pole for the sub feed to the house with a disconnect, and then it comes into the sub panel. But this field around this right now, if you were to get a Gauss meter, which we could show you that, but you've come out to here about 3 feet away from this to finally get down. Do we have one here we could show them? So this.
You want the magnetic?
Yeah, the magnetic field. So So we don't have a whole lot of amperage flowing through this right now, but keep going in closer. That's 0.1. As you get closer, you're starting to get a field off of this, and that's like 1.4 milligauss, 1.7, and keep going closer. So now we're way up there, we're like 10, and we want this to be like about 0.5 milligauss off of the panel. So it's gonna come, we're gonna come out, or like if we're 0.5 milligauss, 18 inches off of a circuit, it's gonna be higher than that typically on a panel. You're gonna get some shielding from the actual, the panel cover is what it is. But that is, the reason for getting this away is we got a 3-foot radius that this is affecting this area whenever we start getting a lot of amperage flowing through here. And that could affect your living space. You don't want that, definitely not by your headboard in your bed, on the back side of your wall in your bedroom where you're sleeping. You want to keep that away from your sleeping areas. So when we put these things in, you get like from any sleeping areas or any living areas, 12 feet away is ideal to get this thing away from anywhere you're in your home with one of these sub panels like this. All right, so another part of the planning phase that's really important is figuring out how far we got to be from your sleeping areas and areas you're spending a lot of time. So Kevin, can you tell them how far away you want your low amperage circuits and your high amperage circuits from your sleeping area specifically?
So low amperage, you want roughly 6 feet from where you're going to sleep, and then high amperage, as in the range, ACs, dryers, you'd probably want more like 12 feet.
12 feet, okay.
Correct.
And what's the reason that you want that distance with the high amperage versus the low amperage? What is the difference?
So the higher the amperage, the greater the magnetic field. So that would push into where your sleeping space would be.
So the magnetic field's when the current is flowing.
Correct.
So we got more current flowing through those larger amperage circuits that are going out. Okay. So this bedroom here behind us, if you turn around here, these are mini splits. These are for the heads. These are actually fairly low amperage, but they're 240 volt. We move those over there. So as an example, away from the beds. As far as the testing, when we did that, can you explain to them how we tested some of those things, like the higher amperage circuits and what we had to do for that?
Yes, so the higher amperage circuits, we pretty much put pigtails on, which is basically, we'll just say an outlet on the end of these wires, and plugged in 2 fans for 3 amps. And that would create the magnetic field and the electric fields that we need to test for each one of these individual cables.
So in your bedroom areas, when we wired this thing, what did we do differently on this wall like than you would do on another wall in the house? Like say this wall here, this is where a desk would go possibly, that's over here, that they're sitting and they're 2 feet off the wall, versus I got my head right up against the wall over here. What are you doing different on a wall like this?
The main thing we did different is running the wires vertical instead of horizontal. So it just goes straight down, or you could go straight up depending on if you're on a slab or whatnot. And also we ended up putting all these outlets that are next to the beds on a kill switch. So every night before you go to bed, you can hit that kill switch, which eliminates the power to all those outlets and lights. And that kills the electromagnetic field and the electric fields.
And what are your options with that kill switch? If I didn't want to get out of my bed and I'm sitting over there and I got this kill switch over here, what can I do to minimize having to get up and get over and get to that, switch that off?
You could always put it on a timer, or you could use a smart switch. Just kind of depends what your needs are.
Okay, so we're using something that's got like Bluetooth on it, because this house is specifically like Wi-Fi free. There's no Wi-Fi in this house, so we would be hitting a button that would just connect with that remote and then shut it off, and that'd be it, right?
Correct.
Nothing else.
Yes.
So okay, so that's the bed. So we want to keep everything away from the beds we possibly can. If you have to have wires by your beds, like this one has lights and switches and plugs here, we're going to shut those off with the kill switch, and that completely eliminates all the electric fields if there was Romex in this wall, and then also the magnetic fields are completely knocked out. So during the testing phase, you want to make sure you actually go to every single outlet in your house. Anything. It could be a smoke detector on the ceiling, it could be a can light, it could be a regular 4-square box like this, and this is if you have MC cable. This isn't going to apply if you have Romex and plastic boxes in your house, but you're going to go through and you want to check and make sure that your boxes and your armored cable that you can see here is all bonded to ground. So, and the way you're doing that is Kevin's going to show you how to do a continuity test.
Okay, we'll just test a ground screw to your sheathing, and that tells you that it's bonded or connected. And we know that it is bonded because the ground wire is connected to your ground screw in the box, which goes back to your panel.
So on this house, we went through and we actually checked every single box, put a piece of tape on, red tape on every single box in the whole house and double check, make sure we got everyone. And the big thing was making sure that we had these the connectors that are at the bottom, which this one we actually, it's hard to see because we have a bunch of putty on it here that's for sound purposes. But we have another one, you probably can see on another box. We'll take a shot of that for you and show it here. But that is connecting to this, it comes through the bottom of the box and connects to this box. That's making the bonding connection between that box and the ground, because the ground is tied off of the ground screw inside like Kevin was talking about. So going back to what we were talking about earlier, is we were talking about making sure you make a decision between MC cable and actually the Romex. So the difference with the Romex and the MC is that the electric field is always present with the Romex. So when you can't shield it, you can shield it with the MC. So the MC is shielding the electric, but with either one of the cables, the magnetic field is always there. So we always have to plan for the cables or the wires to go in a location where we're not spending a ton of time. So, and that goes back to what Kevin was talking about in the other room about making sure the wires are not by your head or you have a kill switch. So that's the important part of the planning. So the recommendation would be to go with MC cable if the budget allows. And if you can't do the MC cable, then planning your spaces is the next step if you're using Romex, to keep it away from the areas that you're living in. Well, the floors, we should talk about the floors.
Two-story houses, it's a lot harder to eliminate these magnetic fields, just because you have lights below you typically, or you just have circuits running underneath your bed. So you just have to be aware of where you route your wires and where your lights are and everything.
Yeah, so this one, and it's actually a little like this house. If you look here, we can go down and walk down the stairs here right now. If you look at this house was built with floor trusses and not TJIs here. So you have a bigger depth. And if you look across this way here, you can see these trusses. These are 18 inches deep. And what we had to do was we ran all of these wire and the cables, the ones that are especially the high voltage, all low in the truss. So if you come down here, so look up here, you can see all of these cables running, the wires running right here on the bottom, especially the higher amperage ones. And you can see those over here. Where did you run the 100? We got the 100 and the 50 amp feeds.
Well, that's going
down. That's right. We moved them over here.
Right.
Yeah. So, okay. Can you explain to them why we put those over there?
Yeah. So we ended up putting a 100 amp sub feed underneath the house just for a future shop. And we ended up running that in rigid conduit just to shield the magnetic field from when that higher amperage is flowing. The magnetic field will be shielded more so than just leaving it in a MC feeder. So
yeah, and that rigid is it's actually touching the shielding on the MC cable, which is grounding that.
Correct.
So this is shielding electric, and this is an 1/8 inch thick rigid conduit, and this is blocking the magnetic field is what we're knocking out with that coming down. So in the you can see how that up top, that larger cable, that's the one that's 100 amp. And then you got a 50 amp right next to it. Those are down on the bottom of the truss. So and then it comes over, and then we got the rigid, because if we're sitting here, like right here in a chair, we don't want this thing, the magnetic field hitting us. So that's why this went here on this vertical piece. And we took that to the floor, and then we went straight down on the subfloor all the way to the ground on that one. So that way, and then we ran this low in the crawl space so that field doesn't come up through the floor. So all this is trying to avoid all these cables and wiring that's all on the bottom going up through our floor space and hitting our floor on the second floor. So if we're sitting on the floor, or if it's like, if we had it right up against the bottom of the sheeting, that field will end up right here. Like you could come right into your bed area, and that creates a problem, because now I might have kept it away from my bed wall, but I got it coming up through the floor. So we got to make sure we're looking at the whole cube of space where these things are coming through. All right, well, thanks for joining us. I hope you're able to learn a lot about how to wire a home that has low electromagnetic fields. And we sure enjoyed sharing it with you. Kevin, I appreciate you being here and working with us on the project.
It's been a pleasure.
So yeah, there was a lot of cool things we were able to accomplish with this home. And Kevin, how can people get a hold of you if they're interested in building a home that's got low EMF?
So we're based out of
So-
Meridian, Idaho, and you could reach out Facebook, Gmail. Gmail would be fortneyelectric@gmail.com, or even call us 208-697-0284.
Perfect. And how do you spell Fortney, just so everybody's got it? So
Fortney.
EY. Okay, awesome.
Correct.
So in what areas do you service? You're based out of Meridian, but what areas do you service?
Really all of Treasure Valley.
So Treasure Valley, so it's like the Boise metro area.
Correct.
Yeah, they're great. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's, yeah, awesome. So yeah, so if you guys are in need of a good electrician that can help you with doing that low EMF wiring in your house, Kevin's a great resource. Reach out to him. So, and if you're interested in building a custom home, building a healthy home or a healthy ADU, reach out to us here at freemansconstruction.com. We also do whole house remodels as well. If you need help with any of your real estate needs, you can go to a real estate company at freemansrealty.com. So thanks again for watching, and we will look forward to seeing you again in the next videos.